So my guides and my angels are just asking me to call this video growing up. So I grew up, I was born in Irvine Central in it's North Ayrshire. I live in East Ayrshire, in Kilmarnock in Scotland, about 40 minutes from Glasgow, maybe not even as far as that from Glasgow in a car. I was born Aileen Ann Sullivan in 11th of July 1964. I've always had a connection from as a little girl of angels, fairies. I always made like my own rose perfume with rose petals, always was round about roses. I was always outdoors. I was always like a tomboy. I've got a younger brother and sister, a younger sister and brother. My sister's first name, my brother. I live with my mum and dad, and we moved to New Farm 50 odd years ago. When I think I was maybe 4 or 5, because I went to the Bentick school in Kilmarnock. Growing up, I was really close to my grandmother Hannah. And I always remember having a happy childhood, although there were many things in my childhood. I was quiet in nature, and my mum was really too much going on that some things I maybe didn't get what I needed as much. My dad was always working. He had to work 7 days a week, 2 nights late. So I was always close to my grandmother Hannah. I was my mum's mum. I didn't know my dad's mum. She passed away sadly before I was born. And I had my papas had already passed, or they did pass when I was a child. We used to go lots of different family holidays. We would go with my granny. Hannah would come with us, and we'd fill the car. And my brother and sister and granny would always be with us. And my mum was the youngest of 9, so her brothers and sisters and all their children would come with us. We had the budgies, the dogs, everything. We all went to Nairn with holidays. Of many, many happy memories of growing up. My mum was always a great cook and a baker, and she always hosted parties of dinners. She used to have a great big table that she would sit everybody around, and it didn't matter when you turned up, you get a meal. And it was always, my house was always fun and loving, and there were always people coming and going, because my mum was at the centre of all that. She was the person that brought everybody together. She was a very, she loved life to the full. She was a very party lady. She was the one that would talk all the time. And I realised when my mum passed in 1992 how quiet my dad really was. He really didn't have much to say. And I realised that my mum did all the talking. She was the one behind everything. As I say, behind every great man's a great woman. And what else can I tell you? I entered into a relationship that it ended in 1988. You'll read a wee bit about that in The Divine Love for Your Soul. I've written a chapter in page 88, Infinite Possibilities. I've written a chapter in there. I think it's about 6 pages long. And you get that on Amazon if you want to buy it. It's all proceeds go to charity. So my journey started out after a spiritual awakening, really, and when my granny passed. I mean, obviously I was sad that she passed, but I had this acceptance, because she used to speak to me about her passing and when it would happen. And when she passed, we used to visit the spiritualist church, and a girl, I went because I was helping her out, and then the people in the medium used to keep coming to me and telling me all these things, and then I would experience them, and then I would start to think, how do they know that? How did they know that? I didn't tell anybody that what I'd experienced in that relationship, what was happening. I couldn't express it. The hurt was too deep. I'd held it too deep in my heart centre, and I didn't express it. So I started to have a really thirst for learning this, and then I'd experience it. Oh, the things I experienced, I'd seen spirit, I've seen angels, and orbs, and lots of activity around about me, lots of guides, and lots of family, departed loved ones around me. But it's nothing to be frightened of. It's the most natural thing in the world. A lot of people are frightened, and actually the most frightening experiences I've had is the people in the airplane. They've not been very nice. Through my life, I felt as if I've went in cycles of where everything's went great, and then, but in 1988 I lost my home, my relationship, every possession I had except for the clothes on my back. My uncle passed away in the July, so that was a June. And funny enough, my husband's birthday is the 4th of June. So he's very special. My Uncle Jim, who was very close to him, Uncle Jim Smith, he passed away in the July 1988, and then my gran passed away in the 8th of August 1988. And she told me she was going, I think it was Princess Beatrice's birthday's the same day. She told me she was waiting this baby being born, and that was the day that she passed. She was going on a nice day, and I was accepting all that. Little did I know that in 1992 my mum was going to pass, which was horrendous for us all. When the communication started really when my mum was passing over, like in the hospital, it was the communication I had, and the senses and the smells, and the communication I had with my mum when she couldn't speak. She was in a coma for 6 weeks. This communication really was, I don't know if you've ever read The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, but this communication was really mind to mind, heart to heart, soul to soul. And I actually spoke to my mum, and she would have a tear running down her eye, and she would maybe hold my hand, and I would play music to her, I would read to her, and it was heartbreaking really to be in that situation. And then just as communication started, it was just really, it never really ended. It just, my husband supported me through it all. He's been supporting, he's my rock. A lot I never understood. A lot of experiences, a lot of spirit came forward and told me things of what was going to happen, and it scared the living daylights out of me, to the point I was crying all the time, and I thought, I don't want this, and then I realised call on your angels, and it made me feel supported, made everything much gentler, made everything much more acceptable, because the communication there wasn't lighter. It was, I don't know, just, spirit team is all your spirit team, it's your angels, your guides, your departed loved ones, it's everybody there, it's included. But when I brought in the angels, I just felt this, woof, this is just who I am. This is here, I'm an angel of the earth. And I like to spend time with people. I love to be on my own as well. I love to be on my own, and I love to spend time with myself and my husband. I love to spend time with my family. But the last few years is really, a lot of things have changed, and we've had to really kind of stand firmly on your own 2 feet, spend an awful lot of time in your own company. And I mean, that's great, but too much of that's not great. I feel you need to have balance in all levels of your life. But so that's who I grew up. My background was, I worked in a factory called Jaeger Tailoring when I was 15 years old. I left the school when I was 15 because of the way my birthday fell in. And then I was saving a lot of money. I was doing really well. And after 18 years, I met my husband. I think the last couple of years I worked night shift in Jaegers, and my husband encouraged me, because then my niece and nephew came along. I think the day came along. I don't remember whether they came along. My oldest niece and nephew, and my husband encouraged me to go to college. I'd left school with no qualifications anyway. I went to college and I trained to be a nursery nurse. And then I got a wee part-time job. But throughout the summer holidays, I would have Jodie and Darius. I would be looking after them, and I was experimenting them with my nursery nurse. Like we'd be doing face paintings, feet paintings. We'd be rolling down the hill. We'd be making things. We'd be singing. I'd read stories to them, practicing them, and they were really brought a lot of love and a lot of light into my world. And it helped my sister out as well, because she was working night shift. She worked in Johnny Walker's and she worked 4 nights. I don't know how she did it with 2 children. So I helped to support her. And then I went on to learn special learning needs, and then a diploma in managing special learning needs. And then I also qualified as a Drew yoga teacher, and I qualified in a Reiki master, and I just went strength. And for leaving the school with nothing, I can now paper my house for all my qualifications. And really at the end of the day, it's not about the qualification, but for some part of my life, I felt as though I had something to prove. I think because I didn't do so well at school, and actually when I was doing my nursing, and they said, "Oh, this is here's your work." And then I would have written it because I couldn't work the computer, and my husband trained me to do all that. And anyway, it was all handwritten. and they said, this is your work. And I thought it was, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. It's going to be the lowest marks in the class. And she said, no, you've passed. I thought it was the real highest rate. I couldn't believe it. I thought, oh my goodness. But I felt, oh my, I've got a really natural ability with the children. And I just knew, because of what I've experienced in my life, and because I was spending so much time with my niece and nephew, I just knew, but I already knew what to do before I even connected in with them. Because I don't know, just natural. Was my Cancerian, I'm kind of natural, kind of motherly feeling, and just using my intuition. I helped my sister a lot with our children when they were growing up with different things they maybe would have wrong with them. And my niece and nephew always used to keep your hands on me, your healing hands on me. That was before I even done it. I did any healing or anything like that. It was before I even entered into anything like that. But they could experience it. They could experience and being in my presence. They could feel it. And we used to have so much fun there, many happy days. And then Sophie came along. They went and done their own thing, and they were teenagers and stuff. And then Sophie came along just before that, actually, I think, or just after that. And so then that's my youngest niece. So we spent a lot of time doing a lot of the fun things with her, dressing up. She always dressed up as a princess, and much to her horror now. And I supported my brother a lot, and it's been such fun. And now she goes her own way, but we still meet up from time to time. And my nieces and nephews, they've got their own children, which brings much delight to me, but I don't see them hardly as much as I would love to. And great aunties and uncles don't really tend to see their great nieces and nephews as much, but so children figure prominently throughout my life. When I was, before I even, I worked in all the different nurseries in East Ayrshire, and then I went to work in the schools, doing my training. And then I worked in the Park School in Kilmarnock, and that was amazing. I was breaking my heart when I left there. That was a placement I did for a year. And then I went to do part-time with different learning disabilities and mental health. And children have always figured prominently throughout my life. And then obviously I worked as a youth worker. I worked as a youth worker part-time as well, while I was training. And I used to stop from time to time and would be there when I was going out with Peter. And then when I got married to him, and nobody at the youth club would believe that we were married because we didn't tell anybody. It was funny. And we just used to go and do our work and no tell anybody that we were married. And they said, you're not married. The young people would have a great laugh. We thought we were winding them up. So my life just really went from strength to strength in different places. I worked for Action for Children. It's NCH Scotland, and then I went to work the company I'm working for now, which should remain private. I don't wish to chat about that, but I worked 4 nights for many years. I used to work 60 odd hours a week. My last place, Action for Children in Ayr, and then I went to my new place that was 4 nights, 12 hours, and then after, God, I don't know, many years, it just became too much. I reduced my hours down to 2. And now I'm 1 night. I've been 1 night for nearly a year now. It's 12 hours. It's really hard going, and I really respect the staff and any of the nurses or caring capacity that works 12-hour shifts, more than one a week or more. It's really tough going. It's not for the faint-hearted, especially night shift when you're working shifts. It really takes it out of your body. You really have to be really kind and nurture yourself and give yourself that space. I've met a lot of really nice friends throughout my working life, a lot of caring people out there, women and men, which is really nice to have that balance. And that my husband, he's in that kind of line of work as well. So we're really busy. Sometimes the phone can ring all night when my husband's dealing with stuff. No, all night, but later on to the night. But so it's busy life. It's changed from what we were doing before. It's still the same work, but and I work with people all over the world, either doing readings or whatever. You'll see my website. I'll try and remember and put it below this link. So that's a little bit about me growing up. I was always a tomboy, but I was always a girly girl. I liked all the nice things. And growing up, obviously you change when you become a teenager, and I liked to party then. Gosh, now I don't even have a drink. It just doesn't resonate with my vibration. Although I might, sometimes I'm a wee notion, I might have a wee wine, one of the wee mini wines. It's just mostly water I drink. It just doesn't seem to work right with everything else. It just doesn't feel right in my vibration. Anyway, that's all that they wished me to share today. So that's a little bit about me. We'll see what tomorrow brings on the next video. Thank you very much for listening and taking time out. Bye bye.